Hey folks, JD here, and this video you may think is a little bit late. Well, that's on purpose. There's a lot of things going on in the UK, a lot of things going on with FPV, a lot of things going on with quadcopters, a lot of things going on with helicopters and planes. And I purposefully have waited before putting this video out because quite literally anything that you try and put into YouTube for the UK, you're guaranteed to see one of these videos. And I've often thought to myself, well, I didn't want to jump on the bandwagon and I didn't want to just push out a video for the sake of doing it that didn't really have any sort of content to it. So recently what I've been doing is I've been spending a bit of time looking through the BMFA's what do you call it, sort of looking through their web portal. I've been a member with them for a few years, and I've never really actually spent any proper time on the website or going through things. And I know a lot of people have a lot of mixed views of the BMFA. A lot of the people just see them as just an insurance company or somebody that's not really going to help or benefit us. My personal view on it is that they have helped model flyers a lot in the past few years, especially with the CAA mandatory testing, licensing and everything, which has just gone live now on the 30th of November. Now, whatever your thoughts are, and I know a lot of people during the time thought that they were just talking for BMFA, were just talking for model flyers and not drone enthusiasts. They thought that the drone, or at least I got the impression that they thought that a lot of the drone enthusiasts were killing the model hobby, and because of them that everybody else has got to be licensed, etc, etc. So I thought the other day what I would do is I would take a little bit of time and I would go through and I would see exactly what the roles and responsibilities are if you're a BMFA pilot, remote pilot, and if you are going to, and when you're going to take this test that you can fly quadcopters which are above the 250 gram mark. So I went through it, took the test. Very, very simple. Now all the BMFA registrations roll around on the 1st of January, so I think I've got to take it again then as well, but at the same time it was extremely simple. I was really happy with it. It was, since they altered the drone code a few months back, a little while back, I'm going to say, because I can't really distinguish time this close to Christmas, everything kind of melds into one. Since they altered the drone code, I thought to myself, well, it's good that they've sort of given you some proper guidelines rather than don't fly, this close to a building, or here's your ceiling. It's better to see it with better diagrams, a bit more explanation, and I think it's going to help the wide variety of remote pilots. So in taking that test, it literally took about, I went pretty slow through it, so I think it took about 7-8 minutes, which isn't really long at all. But in going through that, it gave me a good understanding of how the CAA sees us and how the BMFA sees us. And I think, and it's just my views, and I may be totally off base, but it's just the feeling I got from taking that test. It made me think as if they 100% don't trust us. They think that everybody is responsible for the drones that were flown above Gatwick and everywhere else, above all the other airports. And quite literally, we have all been tarnished with the same brush. Now, growing up, I was instilled a lot of values which I carry through to today. And one of them is, don't tarnish people with the same brush. Now, it's very difficult in a hobby situation for that to not happen because, let's face it, we fly quads, we fly in fields, the majority of us, and we enjoy the hobby. So it's very difficult for us not to be tarnished with that same brush. But I do feel as if, from taking the test, from going through it, from looking at it as somebody who is a remote pilot, but also as somebody possibly as an outsider looking in, because I haven't done that many quadcopter videos recently. The weather has been awful. Even now, it's beautifully sunny, but there's 20-mile-an-hour winds, so I can't fly. So kind of disconnected myself slightly from that as well. It really is extremely one-sided. It really, and these are just my thoughts. And obviously your perceptions and your thoughts may differ, and that's fine. It's healthy to have different opinions. I think it's very one-sided. I'm not against it. This could have ended up so much worse than it actually has. I'm very happy with the outcome. I'm very happy with the amount you have to pay. I don't think you should have to pay something, but let's face it, it's the 21st century. Capitalism reigns whether you like it, whether you don't. Personally, just for my views, I don't like it. As he says, sat in a room full of stuff. But at the same time, I don't think there's any need to pay that administration charge, but we have to. It could have been £16. That was the figure that was bandied about for so long. Turns out it's £9. It's not too bad. As a member of the BMFA, they're going to charge a bit more and then segregate that extra £9 over to the CAA. Again, I don't mind that. I have no issues with that. But you've got to consider all areas of civilization, all areas of this community, whether you're self-employed, whether you're employed, whether you have a good job, whether you're just making ends meet or whatever. That £9 could break the bank, and I was in a situation like that many years ago where that £9 would have broken the bank, and I would have left the hobby. Okay, many years ago, but still. The point is that what seems like a rudimentary, a small amount of money to some is not to others. And yes, it could have been worse. It could have been £16, but fortunately they came down to a level which I think is a bit more accessible to most people. I hope it is, because I don't want people. I already know far too many friends and far too many people on the internet that have left the hobby after doing it for 7-8 years, and it's heartbreaking. But at the same time, that's their decision to make, and they've made that decision. Now, where do I see this going? Well, by them doing this, and this could be a very paranoid outlook, I don't know, but by them doing this, they've opened the door to more regulation. They've opened the door to, or we've allowed them to open the door to a lot of other things. In saying that, there's nothing we could have done to stop it. There's a possibility that price is going to increase. There's a possibility they may bring out other things. The BMFA, I believe, if I read it correctly, they are allowing you to have a photo card, or a card to say that you've passed. I don't know if that's common practice elsewhere. I've just been looking at the BMFA because that's what directly impacts me, this channel and everything else. I think we're going to have to wait and see. I'm not going to start speculating. I'm not going to start throwing out any sort of speculations, because I'd rather deal in facts. But I think it is going to open the door to other things, and I don't know what those other things are. My biggest concern about all of this is you can add whatever regulation you want, you can throw the book at whoever you want, but can you enforce it? Can you police it? And effectively and fairly? And I don't think that can happen right now. Do I think you should take the test? Absolutely. Do I think you should not take the test and then fly quadcopters over 250 grams? No, don't be stupid. The more people that do that, the more that this hobby is going to be damaged. And take the test. It's not hard. Pay the £9, and then you're fined for 2 years, I think it is, or 3 years. You're fined for X amount of time, 2022. And I think ultimately, once you do that, you will feel better about flying. Now, recently, I haven't been able to fly, as I say, but when the quadcopters I've got stacked up here ready for me to fly, and God, there's so many of them. When I can get out and fly, I'm going to just fly them all, and I'm going to be safe in the knowledge that I'm licensed, safe in the knowledge that I'm legal, safe in the knowledge that I can do all this, and it's not going to impact the community wider in a negative sense, and that I know that every single video I put out is all going to be legal and by the book. And that's what I like. I like to set an impression, I like to set the boundary, and that's where I like, and I would appreciate it if everybody else did exactly the same. I don't want to hear or see people who have not taken the test because it's just an extra thing to do. If there are people out there, and I've done it a few times, if there are people out there which are struggling, which you can pay the £9 for them, and if it's a viable option, do it. At least that way then you're ensuring that people get to stay in the hobby and get to do exactly what they love. And I ultimately, I think that is my rant over. It's not really a rant, it's more of a gentle conversation. But still, it's something I believe wholeheartedly in this hobby. I have done for years. I know the channel is changing, and I'm adding new things, but ultimately I still believe in the hobby. I still like quadcopters. I still enjoy flying, albeit can't get out and do it as much as I used to. But at the same time, I think it's important that we stick with the letter of the law and that we show everybody that we are drone enthusiasts, drone pilots, remote pilots, whatever the hell you want to call yourself, are serious about this, and that we don't want them to take this hobby away. Because ultimately, all the shelves behind me and everything on this channel and it would then be, and for many other channels as well, for millions of other channels, would be no more. And think how that would impact you. I don't mean from a channel perspective, because ultimately it wouldn't. It would just be an inconvenience of not having a video up there that you want to see. But think about how it feels when you go out and you fly. That relaxation, the stress melting away, if it's anything like I feel. All that would go away. I would rather do the test, pay the £9, ensure then that I'm legal and that I can fly. Ultimately, I think that's my thoughts. That's where I think it's better. If you are a member of an organisation, or if you can get yourself attached to a member of an organisation, either FPV UK, BMFA, just to name two, there's a full list on the CAA website. I will, if I remember, to include a URL in the description, so you can look at the other organisations as well. There are so many, and I think it's well worth you doing that, because people normally listen to voices in numbers. And when you attach yourself to an organisation, even if you think that it's just an organisation just for insurance purposes or whatever, your voice is amplified through those other members as well, and that can do nothing but help. Alright my friends, well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and go on, ring that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time my friends, happy flying.